Lev Vygotsky was born in 1896 in the town of Orsha in the part of the Russian Empire now known as Belarus. In 1913, he was admitted to the University of Moscow and studied law. He graduated in 1917 and began teaching psychology and working with handicapped children. Shortly thereafter, the October Revolution occurred. He truly began his career in psychology in 1924 when he attended the Second All-Russian Psychoneurological Congress in Leningrad and was subsequently invited to join the Moscow Institute of Psychology. He began to set up research labs in major cities in the Soviet Union. In 1925, he completed his thesis on the psychology of art and would publish 5 additional books on education and psychology, culminating in his book Thinking and Speech. He died before the book was published in 1934 due to tuberculosis. Vygotsky would not become well known in the West until his works were translated into English at the start of the 1960s, including his most well-known work, Mind in Society, in 1978. Karl Marx and Georg Hegel were 2 of Vygotsky's main influences. Vygotsky was deeply influenced by the theory of social interaction and was opposed to naturalism. In addition, Vygotsky also borrowed Hegel's ideas of having historical views on the stages of development and Marx's idea of historical activity shaping human consciousness and cognitive development, or the human praxis. In later years, Vygotsky would also be influenced by Pierre Janet's role of others in developing human psyche, as well as Gestalt psychologists such as Kurt Lewin, including the idea of systems and properties being viewed as wholes. Vygotsky's sociocultural theory focuses on how beliefs, values, customs, and skills of a social group are acquired by the next generation. Vygotsky believed that children must interact with more knowledgeable members of society to acquire thinking that makes up culture. He also believed that language was a key to learning, and that a child should engage in inner talk, or talking to themselves, in order to build understanding of the world and the vocabulary needed to express it. Vygotsky also asserts that social interaction plays the main role of cognitive development. Unlike Piaget, Vygotsky says that cognitive development is dependent on the social assistance before the child can become independent. Anyone who has better understanding in a subject than the learner is known as the more knowledgeable other, or MKO, and these are the people that the child interacts with to expand their knowledge. The MKO can even be a computer in some cases. Vygotsky believed that through imitation of MKOs, learners can improve upon their own skills and work to expand their subject knowledge. Vygotsky began developing the phrase Zone of Proximal Development, or ZPD, which measures the distance between a learner who works with the MKOs and can do the task with assistance, and the learner who can do the work independently. As learners amass more tools, knowledge, and skills, their ZPD expands, allowing for additional tasks to be done. In regards to music education, Vygotsky's theories may be applied in different ways. In the music classroom, the MKOs can take the form of not only the educator, but also peers, especially in lesson groups. It is not uncommon for students in a sectional for either instrumental or vocal classes to help their fellow students work on various musical topics, including notes and rhythms, along with the instructors. In addition, play can take the form of music movement activities, where students can be given simple movement tasks, which they then take and make more complex. The ZPD can also be used to great effect in the music classroom. For example, beginning drummers in a drum circle may only know simple patterns. However, by doing call and response or repeat after me exercises, they can imitate teachers and peers and work on building more complex rhythms. With more guidance, they can internalize these new rhythms and then move on to more difficult material, expanding their personal ZPD. The Vygotsky approach has its fair share of criticism. The major points are that Vygotsky does not take the individual into account, leaving out highly skilled or gifted students. Also, social group composition is not always equal, and those with learning constraints, such as mental disabilities, will not always get the most out of instruction. The student's personal experience is not always taken into account, and their personal ZPD does not describe how development will occur in the individual. Lastly, more recent texts have stated that Vygotsky's work has been mistranslated and that phrases he rarely used have been associated with him. Due to these translations, some scholars argue over Vygotsky's exact beliefs. Vygotsky was a theorist who truly emphasized the social aspect of education and created a new way of measuring scaffolding and supports for learners. Compared to his contemporary Piaget, who believed that the individual learner was more important than the group, whose theory do you personally believe has more merit in music education today?